What's going on, guys? Army-Firedawg is back again, and today I actually finally have the review time for you of the Shanling Audio M3s. This is one of their newest offerings they've had, and it's actually one that I've been excited to listen to, and especially the rest of their brothers, to see how they compare from the M3s, which goes for right around $280 to $300, depending on where you want to search through, all the way down to the 150s. And I'll get into that, of course, in the next two reviews. But of course, we're talking about the M3s now. And as always, I like to start with the construction of which, and then we'll work my way down. So the construction of the M3s is actually quite impressive overall. I was mistaken in my unboxing video. I said it felt like a very premium plastic. However, I was mistaken, as I just said. It is an aluminum glass mix. In fact, if you get it closer, you can actually see the glass finish here. So it is all aluminum. There's not plastic in it, at least as far as the frame goes. So that's actually much nicer than what I gave it credit for. It's still using premium materials while maintaining the lightweight. The volume knob is actually a change from the M2, which I tried way back when. And actually, I personally didn't find I enjoyed this. I did not. I really enjoyed the original knob that was up here. I found that to be more responsive than what this one here is. My problem with this is when I would turn it, it was very hard to finesse just that one item I wanted. All too often, I would select it or go to something. When I went to hit the select, it would go to another option either above or below it. So I feel if there would be a way to adjust the sensitivity of this, that would be very convenient. Now the rest of the construction, as far as like the ports, the aux jacks, and everything else, I think Shanling did a wonderful job in how they assorted everything and where they placed it. So very nicely done on that. So now moving down to the features. So the Shanling M3s actually has a couple really cool features. So first of which, it's actually a Bluetooth 4.0 with aptX, which means you can sync seamlessly with about anything and you don't get that delay that is often associated with Bluetooth models. But in addition to with that Bluetooth 4, they've actually included what's called, and I might not be pronouncing it right, but it's Hibi or Hibi. It's wireless control. So what that does is from your phone, you can actually sync to this, and then you can control this, whether it be like select the folders, turn the volume, set playlists, etc., all from your phone. Now that's a really cool feature to have and to offer. However, my personal opinion on that one is it's not really needed. It takes me personally no more effort to pull this thing out of my pocket than it is to pull my phone out. So I can kind of see where that would be convenient, but not to the sense of what my phone couldn't do its own self. Now, a feature I do really like on the M3s is that it can actually be paired with a combi unit. And by combi unit, I mean a piece that has both an amp and a DAC inside of it, whether it be portable or desktop. So whenever I mention a combi, that's what I'm talking about. So via its USB-C port right here, you can just connect it, and then you can have this just be used as the interface. So all you're doing is controlling the music and the playlists, while your combi is controlling the actual sound reproduction and amplification for powerful headphones. So that's about it for the features of it. Like I said, it's fairly straightforward. It's a very simplistic DAP that's entry level. Even at the right about $300 range, depending on where you want to search through, it's still pretty basic, and it's fairly what I consider to be average about the rest of the DAPs in this price point. Now moving on to the sound quality. So the sound on the Shanling M3s, from my opinion and to my ears, was very neutral. I personally could not tell any bias or coloration to any frequency response throughout. Whatever headphones I played, whether it be the Beyerdynamic T1s, my custom Empire ears, it played it as they sound. And I've tried them on several different amplifiers, and in my case, my customs DAPs, and I know how they sound, and I could not tell any coloration when using the M3s. So actually it's a really cool touch, and it adds more audiophilia, not adding its own coloration, it's keeping it reference. Now with going on to the note of my customs, they do play very well with customs, as in you can drastically turn down the volume level and keep it on low output gain, and it actually plays very nicely. There is still a little bit of hiss, however, Empire ears is pretty much synonymous with being very, very sensitive, and I think I can only, and off the top of my head, I can only think of roughly two, maybe three off the top of my head products that have a black background with the Empire ears, Hermes 6. So that's pretty decent. I would of course like a pitch black background. However, I've tried DAPs costing several times this that still have some hiss, so that's kind of to be expected at this point. I'm just gotten used to it. Now, a note that I forgot to mention earlier, and it is one you have to be aware of with this model. So, and a problem I have had several times is when I'm using the combi with this, when I disconnect my combi and I go from use the headphones and I plug them right back into the port, if it does not automatically register it, which more often than not it would not automatically switch over, I or you, whoever's using this, would have to manually go into the settings, go into the output, and switch it from port out to line out. If you do not do this, the M3s automatically blasted full power and volume into the headphones. First time I had this, thankfully, wasn't on my customs. That's why I actually did not try my customs with this all too often, is because of that. But I was using the Beyerdynamic Amaron Home, and it just blasted me, and I couldn't turn it down. I switched the volumes here, and it wasn't registering anywhere. So after contacting Shanling, they described to me you have to switch that over. So keep that in mind. If you go from combi and you disconnect it, you have to manually make sure it's switched over, or else you're going to get a very loud volume that you can't change. Now, moving on from that, the playlists have about the same issue I have with, again, pretty much every DAP. It doesn't change. I have several hundred songs on here. In fact, I think I'm over 1,000 now. And if I want to go from whether it be artists, folders, albums, songs, etc., it takes forever to just scroll this little thing all the way down, page after page after page, to get to the option I want. I'm not an engineer, but there has got to be a better way to, like, if you're scrolling faster, instead of just going individual songs, it'll start go to letters. So once I start scrolling faster, it'll go A, B, C, D, E, etc. versus, A, B, A, C, etc. That's really my only quarrel with that as far as the UI goes. But again, that's something that has stayed unanimous or synonymous, whatever word I'm trying to think of, with pretty much any DAP I've tried. But guys, that is actually pretty much it for my review of the Shanling Audio M3s. This goes from right around the $280 to $300 range, depending where you want to search through. And for its price, I mean, it's a pretty average DAP. You can't go wrong with this. If you can't quite go to the $400 range, this is actually a pretty solid option. It's a very, very surprisingly neutral sound, great memory capacity, and wonderful battery life. I didn't touch on that, but it has a great, great long-lasting battery life. If y'all have any questions, or if there's anything I may have missed that you would like me to clarify more, please hit me up in the comments down below. I will absolutely reply to each and every one of you, and I do look forward to hearing from you. But guys, as always, my name is Army-Firedawg. It has truly been a pleasure, but most importantly, and please I ask my friends, stay safe.